Hey, brother, can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's up,
Are you there?
everyone? Out
Okay, good.
cyberspace.
What's up, man? Man, I'm
How
so
are
glad you
you? I'm
came
very
on my
happy
show,
to be
man.
on
I'm, Wait a minute, I couldn't hear you.
Thursday
What'd you
Night
say?
Live with Tony Rome. I am very
Yeah,
happy to
yeah,
be here
yeah.
at Thursday Night Live with Tony Rome.
Well, I'm glad to have you, brother. I'm so glad to
It's a
have you.
big honor and a privilege.
No, it's an honor to have you. So, man, so how you been? How's things going? How's things going with
Well, they've been
everything
going
okay?
fairly well. I am currently in northeastern Brazil in the town of Fortaleza. Been escaping Rio after staying there for almost 5 months in a row, surviving carnival, and yeah,
Yes.
it's just a little rougher life in Rio. So it's very nice to be up in the northeast where the sun usually shines all the time and just wind back a little.
Oh, okay, okay. So, how I know somebody that went to the carnival. His name is Ace, Ace Live. I don't know if you ever heard of his channel, but he was at the real carnival. How did you enjoy the real carnival? How did you enjoy the real carnival?
Well, it's my fourth time doing it. If you count the fact that 3 years ago they actually canceled the carnival and put it in April instead, but people just wouldn't accept that.
Okay,
So the pandemic year 2 years ago, there were actually two carnivals. So all in all, this was my fourth carnival. So I feel like I know the ropes by now, and it's always fun. It's always
uh,
crazy, but as a YouTuber, it's always a lot of work as
yeah,
well.
it is. It is a lot of work being a YouTuber. So how long have you been actually been in Brazil?
Good question. It started with, just going for vacation trips. It started out with a
Okay,
couple of months, and then just for every trip, they just it kept getting longer and longer. At this point, I'm on my second year of my visa, my nomadic visa. So you can have those for 1 year, and then you can extend it for one more year, and hopefully just keep doing that. No one really knows because it's all just new.
okay. Yeah, I heard that they changed the requirements of going to Brazil. That you have to have a visa now, right? You go online and you apply for the visa instead of using a passport like they did before.
Yeah, yeah. If you're American, you're in trouble now. It has
Uh-oh.
to do. It's really just a political game. It was the U.S. that started with restrictions for Brazilians, and then they just happened to have a socialistic president now. He's kind of verging into communism almost. So he wanted to slap America on the on the fingers, and therefore there's now a visa requirement if you're American. It's all very silly, and I can't see it staying for very long. It actually hasn't been effectively in place yet. It's been delayed until April, so you're still good to come if you're coming now.
Oh, okay. You better come before April. Okay, I got you. So, is it safe for Americans to come to Brazil at this point? I mean, is it safe for Americans to come to Brazil? Can you hear me? Hello?
I mean, safety is always a general term that is hard to really define. It goes same way for Colombia, I suppose.
Okay.
You're not gonna get killed in Brazil. You're probably not gonna get robbed, at gunpoint or anyone using any kind of weapon. But if you don't pay attention, chances are that you might get pickpocketed, especially if you're in
Okay.
the middle of nowhere. Rio. That's just, the reality for people living there. And especially if you're gringo and you're looking gringo, you will be raising attention, and that puts you at, the risk of getting pickpocketed unless
Oh, okay,
you're taking some kind of
okay,
precaution.
okay. But as long as you stay away from, I know the favelas are pretty dangerous too, are they? You don't should be going up into, like into the mountains or nothing like that. Should you? That's pretty dangerous. It's,
Yeah, well, favelas are they're kind of working on their own rules. They're not typically something I would recommend tourists to go live in or even try to, because you generally need an invitation to really be allowed in a favela, taking photos and staying there. But when it comes to safety, it actually isn't really that unsafe in favelas when you're actually invited, because they use punishment. So if anyone living in the favela is up to bad news and gets caught, he will be punished much harder inside the favela than the justice system would ever do.
oh
So
wow.
some guys get some severe punishment from their favela officers when they're caught.
Oh, what they call doing something. Okay,
Just a
got you.
side note.
Okay, okay, okay. Good, good, good. Okay. The reason why I brought you in here for, I want to talk. We're going to talk about your experience, what happened to you, and was this Copacabana that this happened, or was it Eponema with the part that you got robbed?
Well, I've been robberies in Brazil. It's been two events for me in Brazil. One which in I was just robbed usual way. A little kid snatched my phone. I ran after him and I got jumped by three guys. There's a video where I'm bleeding from my eyebrow. That's fairly popular.
Oh wow,
Uh,
wow.
the second event, I was, yeah, well, I should have paid attention. You're not supposed to be walking the beach for extended amounts of time. I think I was walking for maybe 10 minutes filming until this happened. So that gave them plenty of time to plan the whole thing. It was also just at the end of Carnival. So a lot of people in motion, and well, a lot of thieves that been traveling to Rio to commit the crimes there. And their last day, they took more chances, more risks than usual. But the second one, which was the Scopolamine, wasn't at the beach at all. It wasn't in Copacabana. It wasn't in Ipanema. It was in the nightlife area of Rio, the most famous of them. It's called Lapa. So
Lapa,
that's
yeah,
where it
Lapa.
happened
Okay, Lapa, Lapa.
early
Right,
evening.
right.
So Lapa is a place where pretty much every traveler pretty much will end up there eventually if they have any kind of interest in nightlife. And that's the tricky part, because people come totally unprepared to this nightlife district, which requires some some previous knowledge to stay relatively safe in. And that's something obviously that the criminals know, so they will pay extra attention to any newcomers coming into Lapa drinking a little too much. Then chances are very high that something bad is going to happen to you. I'd gladly tell you all the details about my case, which is a
Yes,
little different than
yes,
the usual getting robbed in Lapa case.
yes. Yeah, yeah, your case is really different because usually I do this coverage in Colombia because in the city of Medellin, there has been multiple cases of scopolamine. Some even resulted of tours actually being deleted. You know, but this is the first I've ever heard of a story like this that's coming out of Brazil. So I'll let you go ahead and finish.
Yes. Yeah. So I've also familiarized myself with the druggings in Colombia. I was staying in Colombia for a couple of months before I really dug into Brazil. And for me, it's always been like a happy mystery why the druggings weren't spreading from Colombia to Brazil as you would have thought they
Yeah,
would.
yeah.
I simply had never ever heard. Yeah, it's a mystery. Well, it was a mystery. I had never heard of anyone getting scoped, getting drugged by scopolamine in Brazil until I was becoming the first victim of my knowledge. And it all happened when I was going to celebrate my birthday. There is a 4 to 5 hour time difference between my country, which is Sweden, and Brazil. So I
Okay,
went alone to Lapa, knowing very well that there are risks going out to party in Lapa. But I did go there between 7 and 7:30 in the evening just to kind of catch the strike of midnight in Sweden, have just a beer for
okay,
myself,
okay,
congratulate myself, and then go home to bed, basically. But just during this very short time frame, someone managed to put drugs in my drink, and what happens after that is basically, just the combination of the few threads of evidence that's been left after the robbery. For
okay.
example, the footage footage from my elevator camera,
Right.
just small fragments of memory. Yeah, because you simply don't know that much when you get scoped, right? You can't really remember. I
Yes,
woke up
yeah,
in my
yeah.
Airbnb, uh,
Mhm.
and it was just completely empty. It looked, at first glance, it looks it looked really tidy, and then I kind of realized that it looked a little too tidy because yeah, there's some news articles that were written about my case after I was robbed, and they like to to headline the fact that the robbers
Yeah, I
got
saw
so
the hit.
greedy
Yeah.
they even took
Hmm.
the beach bag with my tools, with my flip flops. They just stripped me
Right,
of
right,
everything. I had
right, right.
some basic clothes. Yeah. I'm not sure why. It's not that I have such a good fashion taste or anything. Maybe they were just in a hurry, but they still collected my flip flops from the floor, and I know for a fact my beach towel was hanging separately. So yeah, it doesn't make sense.
No, doesn't. So, you say you was out celebrating your birthday, right? During that time, you were celebrating your birthday.
Yes, that is correct. Well,
Okay.
celebrating might be, overstating it. I just wanted to make a little toast to myself. Silly idea, but yeah, not my best idea, obviously, in hindsight.
Oh wow. So, you say you went out to the party. So, when you had your drink, did you have it like in your hand? Did you like set it down for a minute or something like that? Did you like have it in your hand and you just turned away for a minute when it happened?
It's like the more I've been thinking, the more I've been pondering over what exactly happened and how it happened, the more I realized how few real memories I have. And therefore, it's just so hard saying exactly where and how things happen. Uh, I think you're probably aware of, if the guys doing the scopolamine thing are really professional, they might attempt to, kind of leave memories in your head that aren't authentic, memories that are simply fake. So I had a
Okay.
fair share of those fake memories. I've been trying to kind of sort out. These memories being composed to a large amount of me just telling them, yes, take everything I own. Here's my computer. Here's the code to everything. Yes, you deserve to have this. No, 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 you're not stealing it. Yes, you deserve to have this. I'm giving it to you, all these just stupid fragments of memories of, yeah,
Right,
that are
right,
obviously not real memories, but yeah.
right. This is Mr. Razor
I
Rays,
was
and we have
probably
no. Go ahead. I'm
once
sorry. Go ahead.
again,
No, no. I was referring to Mr. Razor Rays. He has a
yes.
channel. He does a lot of. He gives a lot of information about Scopolamine in Colombia. I'm sorry. I just wanted to give him like a shout out too. I didn't mean to
Yeah,
interrupt you.
it's a nasty drug.
Yeah, yeah. He does. He does a lot of content about Scopolamine.
Yes.
And then the reason why I brought you on this live is because everybody's like, we gotta find another place to go. We can't hang out in Colombia anymore. Because this is happening in Cartagena, this is happening in Medellin, this is happening to all these cities. In Cali, you constantly get stories after stories of tourists being drugged and robbed in Colombia. So we said, well, let's head to Brazil now. We don't have to worry about that anymore. But when I seen your story, I was like, oh no, you got to be kidding me. So when did you suspect that scopolamine has made its way to Brazil?
Well, I didn't suspect it until it actually happened to me. That's the ironic
Okay,
thing.
okay.
That's why I wasn't prepared for it. Uh, they do like to use a combination here.
Yes,
Already have like a special little recipe called Boa Noite Cinderella, which is basically Good Night Cinderella. And that is like
yes, Cinderella, yeah,
GHB
yeah.
Rohypnol. That's a
Oh,
knockout. So that one's been around for quite some time, but it works in other ways. When you get that, you're you're out pretty pretty soon. So they will need to take advantage of you real fast after that. With the
okay.
scopolamine, it's different. I was I was probably kind of hanging out with them for an hour until we were home, and the footage showing me just being this
Oh wow,
limp
yeah.
puppet kind of thing, just to everything. There's even there's even a camera at the reception of my Airbnb when I'm being presented to the portero, the receptionist, and normally their job is to verify that their guests aren't drugged and don't take guests to the room that will rob them. But in this particular case, since I had the scopolamine drugging, I was communicating. I was telling him that everything is fine.
Oh
Everything is fine. And might
wow,
even have
wow,
said that they
wow.
were my friends. Not sure.
Okay,
He was feeling
so
really
he,
bad afterwards. The reception. Yeah, so he didn't.
wow.
There was zero alarm clocks going off from him because I guess the pattern you show when you're scoped is simply different from when you get the Buon Noche Cinderella, which means you're basically passed out, right? When you have the scopolamine, you're still standing up, you're still talking, you're super weird, yes, but
Hmm.
you're still
Right.
around.
Wow. So after you got
And
after
but it took me some time. So after
no, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go
okay,
ahead,
I'll
please.
go ahead. So it took me a while to realize. It took me a while to realize it was actually a scopolamine that had happened to me. When I first woke up, um, I was just another, drugging, robbing victim. Everything was gone. It did just kind of puzzle me. I didn't understand how they could have gotten access, not just stealing all my phones, but how they actually were able to take over my Apple accounts, how they were able to breach through my PayPal account, how they were able to get inside, with my PIN code to my bank accounts. They were just inside everything.
Wow. Okay.
something that wouldn't typically happen if just you were just passed out, waking up. So something was just weird about, you know, the whole way that everything was gone. Uh, but I still had these fake memories in my head where I was compliant, helping them, telling them where things were. So it wasn't
Wow.
until I told my followers I had suffered this defeat, this robbery, and I was virtually without anything. I
Oh,
think I had
wow.
5 reais, which is like $2, one
Okay.
dollar to my name. All my backup phones, all my electronics, all my cash, everything, even my accounts. Wasn't even allowed inside my own Gmail. They had really taken my whole life. Uh, it wasn't until I got access to I was able to borrow a phone from the Airbnb host. He lent me
Okay.
an iPhone GE, I think, like very very old, very basic iPhone. I didn't even know they existed that basic, and I managed to get into to Instagram and post about it, and I suddenly got contacted by a lot of people who had suffered the same fate. So during the course of the weeks after the robbery, I had countless conversations with other gringos that have been drugged and robbed the same way. And this whole
Right.
it's like a movie that just keeps unfolding.
Yeah.
Roughly a week after my robbery, I wake up to the news from a friend that shares the story uh, about a Chilean guy who was drugged the same way as I was, same place, and
Mhm.
he didn't survive. So he actually died
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
from
That's
the
yes.
robbings and the druggings, and his friend was also hurt pretty badly. And through my contacts and the constant flow of information, uh, we managed to find out that not only were the perpetrators the same, or at least belonging to the same group as the two ones that had drugged and robbed me, they had also, affiliations to the other gringos that were robbed. So without the police actually doing anything, we kind of just sat on like the whole network of the robbers that were just taking everything we owned, but nothing really happened in terms of arrests or yeah anything. So that was a very frustrating period, and not just for me, but also for the followers, the people I was contacted by that also wanted their situation solved. Some of them were deeply, uh, you know, scarred by this experience. I have connections and friends in Brazil, so I never really felt totally alone and adrift after the robbery. But some of the guys I was talking to, it was like a rape of their minds. They were ravaged. They were not just losing
Oh
money,
wow.
they
Oh
were
boy.
losing their sense of safety.
Oh wow. I can't believe this is happening in Brazil. I
Yeah,
mean,
that was that.
I cannot believe this because we used to hear this
No, it
happening
sure
in
happened,
Colombia.
and I can't really tell all my intel where it comes from, but this being, after all, now 10 months ago. It happened 10 months ago. I've been following this with a close eye, and I have a fairly good tentacles in Rio and Brazil in general, but especially in Rio. Uh, the good news is that after an acceleration of these druggings, the months to follow after mine, it's always it might be too early to actually say this, but I love being the bringer of good news. The tendencies are now that there are less scopolamine druggings from as of from the last couple of months, maybe 3 4 months. I have
Okay.
had very few reports of scopolamine druggings, and those were constant. There was a constant flow from the time that I was drugged until this decline seems to have happened. So that might indicate that this was a group, isolated group, and that they might have, either got caught or just reduced their activities for now. I really, really hope that this is good news to come, and that it will be more permanent. I will keeping an eye on the situation.
Yeah.
But it was turning into a very, very, very bad, with dozens of gringos, just which I knew of, dozens of gringos a month getting scoped. Now all I hear is just very, very few reports a month.
Okay. Okay. So, when you got scope, when you were drugged, did you wake up in your bed, or did you find yourself somewhere where you weren't supposed to be when it happened? Did you go to the hospital?
Yes.
Oh, I lost you. Go ahead, finish.
Let's see. I'm losing you. I'm fearing
Can
the
you
my
see me?
connection might not be so good, being in northeastern Brazil and all. But yes, when I was waking up in my bed, I thankfully had my clothes on. So that was actually the first thought I had. Like, why do I have my clothes on? And then I was very thankful for having my clothes on, because that obviously means that anything weird being drugged, and
Okay.
hopefully that nothing weird was done to me, because, well, my pants were up and all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
the two people that robbed me were one girl and one.
One guy.
So
Okay.
just hope that that guy didn't put anything where it didn't.
Yeah, yeah. That's the only thing that scares me is that um, you're totally vulnerable to the criminals. You know what I'm saying? When you're under the influence of a drug. So, what would you tell my subscribers? Is should they go to Brazil? Do you think it's safe to go there? Um, if they go to the Ipanema, Copacabana, should we stay away from those areas? Is there still a high risk of being scoped there? Can you hear me? Uh-oh.
Yes. So yeah, I lost you for a while there, but I think I got the main part of your question.
Okay.
If I recommend people coming to Brazil, I mean, especially if you have previous knowledge of traveling Colombia, I would say you're all set for Brazil. Um,
Okay.
the only thing with Brazil is that Rio has its places where tourists tend to get robbed. I'm not even saying that Rio as a whole is a very dangerous place. It's just a few typical tourist spots in Rio that make up for such a huge amount of all the tourist robbings in the whole country. So, I mean, if you want to feel safe, if you want to cut your risks, don't go to Lapa. Don't go particularly to this nightlife area known as Lapa in Rio. That will
Okay.
save you about, well, maybe 75-80% of the risk of getting robbed, and especially getting drugged. Um, so yeah, now come to Brazil. It's a fantastic place, and it is the logical next step if you've already familiarized yourself with Colombia. Perhaps don't start with Rio then. Uh, do the northeastern tour first to get, a sense of the country the culture, and then when you're a little more seasoned, you can go down and just enjoy everything that Rio has to offer.
All
But
right, so you
definitely
just
go.
okay, definitely go.
Yeah,
Okay,
I totally agree with smooth life is.
yeah, so
Yeah, I agree.
Lapa is a
Smooth
fun
life is
place.
right. Lapa is a fun place.
Okay,
That is
uh,
kind of the problem with Lapa, that it's a fun place to be, and that's why people come. And it's set up as a trap. So I made several videos about how to stay safe in Rio and especially in Lapa. So if you're following those safety advice, you will be fairly safe. One of them being protect your drink, keeping a hand over it, and never, ever, ever walking outside of Lapa. That's just begging to get robbed. You need to bring the Uber inside to Lapa and just don't leave the main streets. It sounds silly, but disappeared for a second. Ria doesn't really give you a heads up before something happened because it doesn't have this violent feeling. There's no violent vibes really ever in Rio. So you're walking, doing your thing, and then just suddenly crime might strike, or probably not. But that's people usually come to me and they say either damn, I got robbed in Lapa, or they say, I think you're over exaggerating about Lapa. It feels much safer than you say it is, and that's just the problem. It feels safer. That's that's how Rio gets you. It always feels safe until it just happens.
there's things that's happen. So when they rob you, do they rob you with a gun or do they have a knife or something? Because I know in Colombia they have what you call the motos, and they ride up on
No,
you.
it's usually fair. Yeah. So before I came to Brazil the first times, I also heard a lot about the extreme violence in Rio and the extremely violent way that people would rob you, and that is simply nothing that really happens. At least not you know to just hand over your stuff and you get a smile and nothing happens. Uh, if you resist in any way, that is often given as a sign for the robber that you're going to be problematic, and that's when violence might happen or accomplices might join in or other things like that. But the general code is that the victim so that's also the problem with being drunk, right? If you're drunk and don't have sense to analyze the situation and starting resisting people that might be armed, that's when things can happen. But pretty much everyone of the gringos I've talked to, there's a lot of them that's been robbed in Rio. Uh, they're getting most common is pickpocketing. If you're getting robbed by anyone who's physically there robbing you, is usually very concealed. It's very seldom they're standing pointing an actual gun at you. It might be you know understood that they have weapons. They might be poking with their pockets. Other ones will be using just in Lapa at nighttime. It's common to just hold a glass bottle or even a broken glass bottle just as a sign that it can get violent if you don't do it. But very short answer is no. It's not really violent. It's not really violent. You lose your things if you don't lose your mind at the same time and do something stupid.
Oh, okay, I got you. I got you. Got you. Got you. Wow, man. I just want to say that, man. I'm really sorry that this happened to you. So I know you have things to do. I want to keep you on this live too long, but how did you get your stuff back? Like your money and things like that. Because you said they went into into your phone and got onto your accounts. I mean, you didn't get your money back from the bank, didn't you?
No. You don't get stuff back.
Wow.
Let's see, I'm back again. No, you don't get stuff back, especially not if you're scopolamine drugged in Rio, in Brazil. I got some insurance back, but PayPal don't have money, don't have a lot of money on PayPal because they will just not give anything back. If the guys are inside your PayPal and it's a legit withdrawal from their point of view, they don't give a shit. Real banks will have real insurance and they might be able to help you in a real way a little more. So the way I actually survived was I got tremendous help from my followers. They
Okay.
uh, they came
Right.
up and donated, money enough to buy new gear to continue working here in Brazil. Definitely
But
not from the police.
no, no, they don't.
They will never
But
find anything or even
but I
try.
remember part of your story. You say you was completely broke and you had to call your family. You had to call your family to help you.
Yeah, I was. Not only was I broke, and as I said, I had 5 reais. That's like $1 in my name. When you don't have any card, it doesn't matter if you have a secret account with money on or not, because you can't reach it. You can't withdraw that money. So I was completely stranded without any means of either getting money or getting the money out from where it supposedly would have been.
Okay, gotcha.
So I needed to very fast launch like an emergency plan to get a Brazilian bank card so I could actually get money out. The first
Hmm.
time I survived purely out of the grace of my friends and that's it. I met two other Swedish guys. Swedes tend to trust each other.
Okay, okay, okay. So you had so
Actually,
basically.
withdraw money that my family and friends helped me to get because they have the same channels of getting to them since we're Swedish.
Oh, okay, good, good. At least you had some Swedish people that really help you. So you say you had started a GoFundMe account too, right? That helped you. That
That is
GoFundMe
correct.
account.
Yes,
Yeah.
that might be the most embarrassing thing I've done in my whole life. That that gave me a worse feeling than actually being drugged and robbed. Being drugged and robbed was a practical problem because you're suddenly without anything to have, but it didn't really affect me that much psychologically. Then it was a harder begging for money, doing all those kinds of things were harder in a way.
Did you ever think about going back home? After the robbery, to say, hey, you know what? I cut my losses. Would you have a way back to Sweden if you had to go back? Would you be able to get back home?
I would have had a way back, and that's what my family actually offered. They were tired of me getting robbed in Brazil, so to speak. So they told me, "We're willing to help you to get on a flight back to Sweden. We will cover those expenses, no problem.
Oh,
Just
okay,
get on a
that's
plane
good.
and
Okay, okay.
come."
So just get on the plane and
But
go. Okay.
that wasn't really the kind of help yeah. But for me to properly deal with the whole situation and be able to respect myself in the future, I just couldn't pick that offer up. I needed to solve the issue and be standing before I left Brazil, if you understand the difference.
Right, right, right. I understand that was a hard thing for you to go through. I mean, because it feels like your whole life was turned upside down. You know what I'm saying? When they take everything, take all your money. Um, so you just went
Yeah,
ahead and just go ahead and finish. Go ahead.
yeah, it was turned upside down, and it was just kind of drained of everything. There was nothing. There was no resources left. There were no tools left. There it was just nothing to to get my life going with. I didn't even have a functioning phone. uh, I was just nothing. But that was
Wow. Yeah,
primarily
yeah.
a practical problem. Sure, it was very stressful. Uh, I was gonna say something else. I kind of lost my line of thoughts.
That's okay.
But
Take
being
your time.
left practical, but there were also a situation where they just went iPhone SE I had, and with the contact with my mom. My mom is in her late 60s back home in Sweden. We were battling these, very, very skilled cyber criminals who were, digging deeper and deeper into the accounts. After Google was actually much faster than
Right.
well, Apple was just shitty. They didn't do anything properly at all. But it was a struggle to maintain and secure all the accounts that I had managed to seize. So that was the mental stress of knowing that you only have a couple of hours when the criminals are sleeping, that you
Hmm.
are safe. The rest of the time, they will be trying to dig deeper into your life and just steal everything from you,
Wow.
and you
Wow.
will have to try to combat that. Yeah, that
Right.
was a tough time.
Yeah.
That was a
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah. Yeah. So do you think I'm gonna let you. I know you probably tired right now, but I just want to ask: Do any of the subscribers, anybody have any questions for the Swedish Gringo before I let him go? Let's make sure anybody have any questions before I let you go. Anybody got any questions on it? You guys are really quiet today.
I
It's
saw
just
something that one of you, yeah, one of you guys were he was writing a thing, and I just wanted to say I agree that the robbers, the criminals in Brazil in general, they don't really like to get into physical fights. I think the whole machismo culture is a little different in Colombia, where you gotta prove that you're a man by standing up for yourself. But in Brazil, any kind of conflict is frowned upon. So guys, they don't really protect their manhood that way. So there's rarely ever any physical conflicts. There, you never even see people fighting here. Just in Great Britain, a fight is probably 40 times more likely in a bar than it is here, and that is
okay.
probably reflected in when you get robbed. There's not a fist fight. They will just stab you if if you get too problematic.
Okay, gotcha, gotcha.
So
So
there's nothing violent until there is, and then you won't be pushed in. You won't get punched in the face or in the guts. You're more likely to get severely hurt at that point.
oh wow, yeah, wow. So you said Lapa is the best place to go right now, as far as if you want to visit Brazil. Like, okay, when I go to Brazil, it'll be the my first time. So you said Lapa would be the better place than Copacabana or Ipanema.
Yeah, yeah, smooth life. Yeah, he's still here. Yeah, Brazilian men don't want to fight you one to one, and that's a problem when tourists come and they are good at fighting. I met so many martial arts, proficient people who think that will actually help them here, but the criminals will stray away from any physical contact like that. So yeah, it's just I don't respect that aspect uh, of how criminals act. No, sorry, I left your questions there. I was drifting away.
No, no, no,
What would
no.
you?
You're
Yeah,
okay.
where to
No.
go? Where to stay in Brazil?
Yeah. What would be before we let you go? What you said Lapa would be the best place. Now, what about the Copacabana beach? Like they say, if I just want to spend my time on the beach area of Brazil, would that be a safe spot?
Yes. So when we talk about safety, it's very important we divide what we mean with safety in different categories. So we've been talking about scopolamine. That's probably
Supposedly,
like the
right?
worst thing that can ever happen to you in Brazil if you're not getting murdered or something. So that is the worst. You're losing all your money and you might even get physical problems for the rest of your life. It's really bad. When it comes to the beach, we're talking about maybe losing your stuff. So it will not be dangerous in any physical sense like that. So when you go to the Copacabana to enjoy the beach, it's all about just bringing the things you really need for the beach and keeping an eye on your stuff. Yeah, because they can
Okay,
be pretty skilled at stealing those things. But
okay,
that's it. It's not dangerous physically to be anywhere in Copacabana or Ipanema.
okay. Well, the reason why I asked because I seen them sometimes. They while you was on the beach, I see one of your videos. They was bringing a drink to you. You know, they bring that drink to you. You know, is that safe? It's not gonna be no scopolamine in
Mhm.
there, isn't it? They will try to drug you on the beach, won't they?
Uh, so the guys walking around selling, yeah, the pre-made drinks on the beach. They, I wouldn't like to say they're safe, but that's for another reason. To keep those, fresh for 4 hours walking in 35 Celsius degrees. They have a lot of added stuff in them that might not be good for if you don't like spending time on the toilet. But I've never
Oh,
heard of anyone
okay,
actually being drugged by
okay,
by drinks on the beach. It hasn't it hasn't come to that point yet. Uh, but of course, don't buy from a guy who's been walking around with a drink for hours. Buy it
okay,
fresh
yeah,
from the restaurants and watch as
okay,
they are making. No,
okay,
Copacabana Beach, I haven't heard of anyone actually getting drugged on the beach. Not confirmed, at least. That is more related to late afternoon, evening, or night in various locations, but not at the beach like that. I know it has happened, but not from any of my. I only rely on my own information sources when I when I spread news like this. So it has happened historically,
okay. But it's something that doesn't happen
yes, but it's
all
not
the time.
something you really have to be concerned about.
Oh, okay.
No, 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 no.
Well, I'm
It's
not
it's
gonna.
extremely it's extremely
Okay, stream and say, gotcha, gotcha. So, is there anything else you would like to say? Everybody, make sure you go to the Swedish Gringo channel and subscribe to his channel. That was very nice of him to come and talk to us about what's going on in Brazil. I don't want to hold you too much longer, but is there anything else you'd like to
I
say?
hope I didn't scare anyone away. Yes. So my last words would be don't be afraid of coming to Brazil. And I think you already know this if you're familiar with your channel and with Colombia. Brazil is very much the same. There's some few cultural differences, but if you already like Colombia, you will love Brazil. So there's simply no reason not coming. Just follow simple safety procedure, and especially at night, keep an eye on your drink. Hopefully, scopolamine is not here to stay, but we just can't be sure about that. And
Yeah,
there's
wow.
also other drugs that are used here, so it's not
Oh, wow.
scopolamine. But come to
Yeah,
Brazil. Yeah, don't be scared. Just be.
okay. Well, thank you so much, sir. I want to hold too much more of your time. I thank you for coming on my show to talk to my subscribers about. It's kind of disappointing, kind of to hear that scopolamine is creeping into Brazil now, and also I heard it's creeping into Ecuador too because there was a YouTuber that was drugged by Colombian girls in Ecuador. That happened not too long ago. So
Oh,
they're
yeah.
actually
It's
this stuff
also
is
also natural.
yeah, it's getting pretty
Yes.
bad out there.
Just
Yeah,
a
yeah,
last word from me is it seems to be freelancers using scopolamine in Brazil as the situation is now. It's not rooted in the favelas. So it's important to know that the favelas are also hating this. It is not something to be blamed on any of the favelas or even at this
right.
point their criminal activities. These are people that have traveled uh, as freelancers to make
Okay,
money.
okay.
That's my analysis of the situation.
So they coming
Okay,
into
everybody, I gotta go now. I gotta sleep.
yeah, yeah. Okay, well, thank you very much, sir, for coming on my show.
Yes, they
Okay,
are. They Thank you so much. Yes, they are on foreign territory. At least these guys that I have gotten to know. Hopefully, they will leave Brazil, stay out of Brazil. But we never know.
we never know.
Bye
Okay,
bye. Once more. Bye bye.
all right. Thank you. Bye bye. Okay, thank you.